a man is tied to a chair. A ransom call comes in, and before he can even understand what's happening, everyone in the room is dead. And here's the crazy part. That's not the climax of this movie. That's the opening scene. Today, we're breaking down the Childe, a brutal, chaotic South Korean action thriller where a desperate boxer gets dragged into a billionaire family war. A mysterious hitman keeps appearing at exactly the wrong moment, and almost everyone has a hidden agenda. And trust me, the ending completely changes the way you see one particular character. Our story follows Marco, a mixed Korean-Filipino boxer living in the Philippines. He's broke, he's constantly fighting underground matches, and he's barely making enough money to survive. But Marco isn't fighting for fame. He's fighting because his mother is seriously ill, and he desperately needs money for her treatment. There's another thing Marco has wanted for years, to find his biological father, a Korean man who abandoned him and his mother when he was just a child. Marco has spent years searching for him, hoping that one day this mysterious father might finally take responsibility for the family he left behind. And then, completely out of nowhere, that day finally comes. A group of professional representatives tracks Marco down and tells him that his father has been found. And not only has he been found, Marco's father is Chairman Han, a powerful businessman in South Korea. Suddenly, the life Marco thought was falling apart seems like it might finally turn around. His father can pay for his mother's treatment. He can finally meet the man he's been searching for. So Marco agrees to go to Korea. And that's when his real nightmare begins. On the flight to Seoul, Marco meets a strange man dressed in an expensive suit. He's friendly. Almost too friendly. He jokes around with Marco, acts completely relaxed, and somehow seems to know far more about him than he should. This is the man we'll come to know as the Nobleman. The Nobleman is one of the most unpredictable characters in the entire movie. He's charming, funny, casually disrespectful, and absolutely terrifying. At first, Marco has no idea who this guy is, but the Nobleman clearly knows exactly who Marco is, and before they separate, he gives Marco a warning that makes almost no sense at the time. Marco is not going to leave South Korea alive, and suddenly, that dream trip to meet his father doesn't feel so exciting anymore, because the moment Marco arrives in Korea, everything goes to hell. His escort vehicle is attacked. Gunshots tear through the road, and car crash brutally. Marco is forced to run for his life through the countryside while armed men hunt him down. He has no idea who is attacking him. He doesn't even know why. He only knows one thing. Someone wants him dead. And while Marco is desperately trying to survive, we're introduced to the other side of the Han family. Director Han is Chairman Han's legitimate son. He's calm, intelligent, and absolutely ruthless. He's involved in a brutal power struggle over control of his father's enormous business empire. And then there's Yoon-ju, another member of the family who wants the inheritance for herself. The family looks powerful from the outside, but behind closed doors, it's basically a war zone. Everyone is lying. Everyone is protecting something. And Marco has unknowingly walked directly into the middle of it. But then comes the first major revelation. Marco finally discovers why his father really brought him to Korea. And it has nothing to do with love, nothing to do with reconnecting with his son. Chairman Han is dying. His heart is failing. And Marco happens to be a compatible donor. They didn't bring Marco to Korea to meet his father. They brought him to Korea to take his heart. Suddenly, everything makes sense. The mysterious invitation, the expensive flight, the protection, the sudden attacks. Marco wasn't being welcomed into the family. He was being prepared for a procedure that would save his father's life. And once Marco discovers the truth, the entire situation explodes. Now the family has a problem. Marco knows too much. So the people fighting over the Han fortune begin trying to eliminate him before he can escape. What follows is one of the movie's biggest strengths, pure chaos. Cars chase Marco through narrow roads. Gunmen appear from nowhere. People betray each other. And somehow, every time Marco thinks he's finally escaped, the Nobleman shows up. At first, you're convinced he's the main villain. He's following Marco everywhere. He keeps smiling while everyone else is terrified. He casually walks into dangerous situations like he's taking a morning stroll. And he's unbelievably good at killing people. But here's what makes the character so interesting. The nobleman doesn't behave like a normal hitman. He jokes. He complains. He acts almost ridiculous. And yet, the second he decides to kill someone, it's over. One of the movie's best sequences comes during a high-speed chase involving Yoon-ju and the nobleman. She deliberately puts him in an incredibly dangerous situation, testing just how fast he can react. And instead of panicking, the nobleman looks almost entertained. That's when you realize something. This guy isn't just dangerous, he's completely unpredictable. But the biggest question remains, why is he so interested in Marco? Is he trying to kill him? Is he protecting him? Or does he simply want something from the Han family? And the movie keeps that question hanging until Marco is eventually captured. He's taken to a hidden medical facility. He's sedated. He's strapped down. The doctors prepare for the operation. Marco is helpless. The family has finally gotten exactly what it wanted. His heart is about to be taken. And then, everything changes. Marco wakes up in the middle of the procedure. There's panic everywhere. The medical staff don't know what's happening. And then, the quiet figure standing nearby finally reveals himself. It's the nobleman. He's been there the entire time. But here's the twist. He isn't there to save Marco out of some sudden sense of heroism. He's there because he has his own game to play. The nobleman takes control of the situation and turns the entire operation into leverage. He wants money. And now, he has the perfect bargaining chip. The Han family's secrets, their fortune, their fear, and their desperate need to keep everything hidden. Suddenly, the man we thought was hunting Marco is standing between Marco and the people trying to kill him. And that's when the child transforms into absolute mayhem. The nobleman moves through the facility like a one-man army. Gunshots, knives, explosions, bodies dropping everywhere. And somehow, in the middle of all this violence, he's still cracking jokes and worrying about his expensive suit getting covered in blood. That's what makes him so entertaining. He's terrifying, but he's also hilarious. And while the nobleman tears through the people standing in his way, the Han family's entire power structure begins collapsing around them. Director Han tries to fight back. Eventually, Director Han is killed in the chaos. The family that seemed untouchable at the beginning of the movie is falling apart, and Marco finally understands the truth. The father he spent his entire life searching for never really became the father he wanted. The family he thought might save his mother was actually willing to sacrifice him, and the man he thought was his greatest enemy ended up becoming the person who kept him alive. By the end, Marco survives. And, ironically, the money extracted from the Han family's chaos helps him get the treatment his mother desperately needed. But Marco doesn't stay behind to claim the family's fortune. He walks away from it. Because after everything he's been through, he realizes something far more important. He came to Korea looking for a father. Instead, he found the truth. And sometimes the truth is better than the family you spent your entire life hoping for. Even the nobleman's ending is surprisingly strange. The money he takes from the Han family doesn't simply disappear into his pocket. He uses part of it to help underprivileged children, creating a future for people who never had the opportunities he had. The movie mixes brutal Korean action with dark humor, family drama, mystery, and some genuinely unpredictable character moments. And Kim Seon-ho's performance as the nobleman is a huge reason the movie works. You never know whether you should laugh at him, hate him, or be terrified of him. And that's exactly what makes him so memorable. So, was The Child worth watching? And now I want to know what you think. Did you realize the nobleman's real intentions before the final act? Or did the twist completely catch you off guard? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.